Relationship with Blood Moon ended. Today we're going to be 5-color gamers. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. As is probably very obvious from my voice here, I have a pretty wicked head cold right now, so I'm going to be a little quieter, a little lower energy than normal. But the show must go on. Unless I get really sick, then I'll take a couple days off, but we're just a little sick right now. Just annoying levels of sick. So today we are going to be playing 5-color Loam, and just kind of a brief history lesson. 4 to 5-color Loam is a mid-range deck list that, in a word, is just greedy. It seeks to play a large number of slightly overcosted mana pip-intensive cards that have situational but overlapping uses. And the kind of general theory is that you will outvalue fair decks while having some game versus unfair decks, often in the form of something like Chalice of the Void. This is a deck that has largely disappeared from Legacy because as time has gone on, we've just gotten other sources of card advantage that often require you to jump through fewer hoops than the mana base of a 4 to 5-color Loam deck list has you jumping through. And there's also just a lot of standalone good cards in Legacy from the past few years, the One Ring, Murktide Regent, things of that general nature. And while 4-color Loam used to be something you'd see relatively often, a lot of the Loam pilots have kind of shifted more towards Elvish, Reclaimer, Knight of the Reliquary, Dark Depth style deck lists rather than kind of a traditional 4-color Loam. Let's see what this deck looks like. So Ryan gave me the donation deck list to play this deck list, but the deck design comes from Connor False, who is a friend of mine and a very, very, very proficient 4-color Loam pilot. Now, Connor, you know what I'm going to say. The avarice, the greed of this mana base is insane. So Mox Diamond is really something that can hold this deck list together. And if we could play 8 Mox Diamonds, we probably would. If you kind of take a look at the mana base here. Oh, I forgot some. So in our 5-color mana base, 13 of our lands fall into this kind of either single color or colorless, or even no mana producing in the case of Maze of Ith status. And only 13 of our lands in our 5-color deck tap for 2 or more colors, which is scary. The overall result is that you end up with a ton of utility, and your Knight of the Reliquaries in particular can search up a lot of weird things. So people are really used to crop rotation or Knight or Elvish Reclaimer for Bojuka Bog. But in this deck list, you can also get a shock to finish off a Planeswalker, a creature, or player. You can get your Blast Zone to clear out stuff. And you have some other situational cards that you can get. And in some cases, you can get a little spicy with Life from the Loam. Let's say you need to bounce a permanent out of pet play. You can Knight of the Reliquary for an Otawara, Wasteland your own land, bring it back with Life from the Loam, and then reuse it that way. If we kind of look at the top end of the curve here, it looks like someone's trade binder. Just all the really cool multicolored spells all in one deck. And I want you to imagine that you are playing against this deck. What are you expecting? There's just a wide range of threats, some of which will immediately create one or more bodies. Some of them you can tutor up with a green sun, and some of them will even go and fix some of your mana issues, which the static ability on Wren and Realmbreaker is probably its most powerful mode within this deck specifically. So this is sort of a weird deck in that you have a lot of slightly overlapping cards with different roles. So, for example, if we kind of think about the removal, Source to Plowshares is kind of the format staple for just best removal spell. But then beyond that, we do have a pretty wide range of removal options beyond just that, not counting kind of these two as they can technically also be removal. And then we do also have Legolas's Quick Reflexes, which can defend one of our large creatures, or maybe do something like give us another Knight of the Reliquary activation. Some of these cards I like a little bit less in the current Legacy metagame than I used to. Sylvan Library in a world where roughly 40% of the metagame is Orcish Bowmasters doesn't feel like the best to me. But I'm going to trust Connor's deck building here and just kind of go with it. I will, I'm sure, complain about the mana base at some point, but, you know, that's to be expected. I am a basic land stan. I am a good mana base guy. The sideboard, kind of similarly to the main deck, is not geared too heavily in any one direction. It's a lot of overlapping cards that can serve as like cheap counter spells or removal spells with no one effect being maxed out on. I guess the final thing that I'd like to add here is that if you are a paper player and you're playing this deck, please consider Mawloc from the Warhammer 40k set. This has not made its way to Magic Online yet, but I think is a powerful addition to the deck list. Yeah, so with that being said, let's battle, and if you end up needing to buy any of these cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your next order. Alright, so in kind of talking about mana base issues, just hand one. This hand's green mana is like wastelandable, multiple Swords to Plowshares, all that sort of stuff. If this is a basic, this hand is perfectly reasonable, but I don't think I can keep this one because without this Dryad Arbor, without this Dryad Arbor, I just don't have access to green, and the hand is base green. And there's so many lands that don't produce the proper colors in this deck that I think I've just gotta ship it. Arkin could be playing all sorts of nonsense. He changes decks a lot, so I'm not gonna have the best read on what he's on innately. That's fine. I've got some options for my own turn. I think we're gonna go bam, bam. I'm discarding the tapped land here. And I think I just try to Punishing Fire this creature. The Bowmasters is a higher impact card, and I'd like to play that one around Days. Alright, fantastic. So, Forth Eorlingas is a way to try to just cheese this game basically immediately if I don't think my opponent has a counterspell. But I don't know that I have a read on whether or not my opponent has a counterspell yet. Like, I don't know that I would counterspell Punishing Fire on Delver on turn 1. Delver's not even that good. We live in Dragon's Rage Channeler's world now. Alright, sure. Okay. No DRC, no red mana either. Oh, are you Hootie? Hootie means my Forth Eorlingas is much, much, much worse. Okay. Ooze. Halfling are what I can kind of get right now. Got it. Alright. I, in theory, want a red or white source here. Probably just like a Taiga for now. Taiga covers a pip in most of these cards. So I think I am into Sorcery Speedbow, man. And I don't think I'm going after my opponent's lands here. I think my own mana matters too much. That's devastating. That is a play from a man who knows how bad this deck's mana base is. Yep. I'm at 15. This is Trample, which makes trying to turtle up behind the Monarch awkward. This is Dazable, but I do think I want an Ooze quite badly. And then we'll just ship in for 2. Ooh, am I getting bolted? Oh, the Ooze is getting bolted. I mean, I guess that means I still have a Bowmasters, so that's nice. Well, you know, sometimes it do be like that. And Murktide. Fuck, alright. I think we're dead at this point. That helps. Kind of, though. Well, fuck me. Next game. So, I have Blasts, which are reasonable. I have Endurance, which is reasonable. I don't know that Fiery Justice is reasonable. Yeah, I like Pyroblast more than Hydroblast. By a lot. It doesn't really seem like Dack Fayden does anything critical. What are the actual words on this card? That feels cuttable. Not particularly good at using my life total as a resource in this matchup. A lot of times I just get punched in the face early. I'm going to play 1 Blue Blast. I don't think it is particularly strong. That's weird. I think I'll keep it. I think just keeping something that has reasonable mana is fine. This is a little bit of an awkward card. Yeah, that's fine. I played out my worst land in anticipation of getting Wastelanded. Sure, that's fine. I don't know which land to play this turn. The Windswept Heath is the one that can't get Wastelanded, but I'd kind of like to save my fetch land for as long as humanly possible. Don't mind that draw. I'd prefer not to be Wastelanding my opponent in this matchup, though. I have big dumb things to resolve. Yeah, that's fine. Annoying, but it's happening. Sure. Now I think I'll play this one. Alright, it's just a lot of draw go. I mean, that gives me something to do. Green-red Taiga here. Probably make a land drop to play it around days. And this is a 2-mana draw 3, if it does resolve. Force of Negation would be pretty awkward. But I guess if that gets forced, you know, I have all this stuff. Brainstorm time, it is brainstorm time. It is Force of Negation. Now the next question is, am I wastelanding my opponent? I think no. I don't think the game is existing on mana denial axis. I think I just need to resolve my spells. It's more tempting to wasteland that one, because that one represents Dragon's Rage Channeler, but I've just got Prismatic Ending. Yep. This can theoretically do 5. Ending not great at answering Murktide, obviously. And giving my opponent great daze targets. Alright, I'm not the happiest about this. Some portion of the time this also just gets attacked and died because I hit the wrong mode. Here we go. We're going to get something back. Get the scrubland back, I guess. Yeah, but this is what I mean. Like, with this mode, this just gets attacked and it's a fog for a turn and that's it. We were looking to hit 4, 5, or 6. Actually, we were basically hoping to hit not 3, right? Because a 1 or a 2 also puts Comet outside of range of just dying. So basically just not the exact one that we hit. An Uro, you say? Sure don't have blue. Or enough cards in graveyard. Minsc and Boo is like not the best versus Murktide Regent either. Neither is Forth Eorlingas. Blue land? Kind of. Alright. I don't think I play this turn. Okay, cool. We, in good news, avoided petty theft on a Mox by waiting to play it. In bad news, we just take 8 damage here. I'm at 14. Let's play Savannah. Prismatic Ending. Or I guess not tapping Wasteland. That doesn't make sense. Let's attempt to pay Bant on that. Ooh, the quick Reflexes. Sure. That's very good. So I now think I am just going to jam Minsc and Boo. I don't care if it gets countered. I'm just trying to use this to buy some time. Lightning Bolt could savage me here. Yeah. I've got a 1/1. I can play Uro next turn. I'm technically alive, but pretty much anything beats me. Ponder in a land. I imagine my opponent will just cast the Druid. Ooh, no. A Wasteland. Yeah, that knocks me off of double blue for Uro. Yeah, I kind of thought we were going to end up in this spot prior to playing the land. Well, is there another blue? There is. I need to tap this one. I guess I still have access to 4 colors if I tap this one. We'll exile 5. I think I need to draw a removal spell here. So I Grist, kill Murktide, assuming I don't get dazed. I'm not going to get greedy and swing. Sack Boo, kill Murktide. I'm going to lose the Grist, but then hopefully I just play a giant Forth Eorlingas and bash in with Uro and get to spin the game. The Uro doesn't get like Pyroblasted or something. There's a very good chance that I'm stable. My opponent just found another Murktide, unfortunately. That's rough. And this one is bigger than my Uro as well. Okay. Murktide Regent always kills me in the air. So that's a thing. Alright. So we crash in. I need my opponent to block with Murktide. They did not. They are at 10. Yeah, if I randomly do this in the other order and attack first before doing the Grist, I draw Swords to Plowshares, and I'm still in this game. So I guess we can do this, right? So white, green, blue. 3 colors take this out. I have a mana short of Punishing Fire, return Punishing Fire, cast Punishing Fire. So I guess I am just passing now. Hooting Mandrills, sure. There's a good chance that I kill my opponent just by going wide with Forth Eorlingas. My opponent also might be attacking Grist here. That is a Questing Druid at me and a Murktide at Grist. So this blocks this. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. If I tap out for Forth Eorlingas, I have exactly lethal. Alternatively, I can send Punishing Fire at my opponent's face. And then play around Daze, which is probably better. Yeah. Let's send this upstairs. Opponent's at 8. X is 4. Playing around Daze. Uro gets blocked. Exactly 8 goes in. And we managed to dance our way to a win there. That was scary. Fiery Justice sometimes kills Murktide Regent. It's such an awkward spell mana-wise. 5 life is not irrelevant either. Alright, I have kept this one here. I have a mana dork on 1 into a life from the Loam, which is great. I have to hope that my Bayou does not get wastelanded. Because that would be real awkward. I need this Bayou. So the nightmare scenario is Lightning Bolt into Wasteland. I think that usually just beats me on the spot. Yup. Okay. Well, fuck me. Okay. Something, something, something. Mana base, good. Something, something, something. Like, some portion of the time I can just draw another green producing land, cast Life from the Loam, and everything is fine. But some portion of the time that doesn't happen too. Sure, I'll eat that with Prismatic Ending, that's okay. Yep, that is not a castable Magic the Gathering card. So goodbye, DRC. I theoretically have an answer for a Murktide Regent, but my spells are not castable right now. I have 0 castable spells in my hand, despite having 5 cards. Yep. Okay, there we go. I think I just sorcery speed this, so my opponent can't hard cast Force of Negation. I think that's where I'm at with this one. Alright, cool. Sure. Surgical Extraction. And another Mandrels. I am not going to give up multiple cards to stop that Hooting Mandrels from coming into play, because my opponent might not even cast it. What is this targeting? The swords, yeah. I'm gonna say that's okay. Like, I have some agency, but I don't think that is worth cards. And that's gonna continue to scale up. And we might just die with 7 cards in hand and the ability to cast none of them. That's kind of the way this game is trending. Yep. Cool. Cool. So I am at 16. I have drawn another land. I still have 0 castable spells. And I think once I have taken 12 damage, it's not realistic for me to remain in this game. GG's.
Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, which is just the best place to keep your online deck lists. And one of the things that I love about them is that you can use it to keep track of what cards you do and don't have for a deck. So for example, in this deck list, I have all of the cards, so there are nice blue bubbles filled in here, and that's automatically ported over to your collection tab, where you can see exactly what cards you do and don't have.
Alright, my opponent is on 5 cards. If they are like a graveyard-focused combo deck, we have some agency versus that. This is a fair mulligan to 5. That's a-okay with me. We're probably just going to Mox Diamond, discard a land, probably just fetch a basic forest here, and jam the library. If my opponent wants to 2-for-1 themselves to Force of Will this after they've mulliganed that deeply, this is great for me. A Lorien Revealed. Finding Underground Sea. Okay, so we are playing against some sort of blue-black scam or Death Shadow deck, something of that general nature. And then they did not play that land that they revealed. Alright, library. Let's do library things. I'm going to pay 4, keep one of these. I'll put back the second Loam. Life from the Loam. Target 2 cards. Would like to use the fetch land here to shuffle the second Loam off the top, I think. And we've got multiple land drops. We can be making life's pretty okay from here. And we don't care about the Wasteland that's in play anymore. Yeah, opponent's not even going to Wasteland us immediately. Yeah. Use Sylvan Library's ability. Quick Reflexes can go back. This is fine. I don't really need it yet. Let's just put that on top. I'm going to make land drop 1. Cast an Uro. Draw that Knight. Make land drop 2. Sack the Uro. Actually, do I want to even Loam 4 cards in graveyard right now? Yes, I'll Loam, but not for the maximum. I'll Loam for 2. Which does cost me a life, because we're playing this land in our deck for some reason. Connor. We'll dredge the life from the Loam. We now have enough cards in graveyard to cast an Uro. Oh, those are good cards. Put that on top. Put the Grist on top. We'll draw it in a second. Let's Uro. Uro time. Oh, it just resolved. Cool. Tap this wrong. I could have played Grist as well. Okay, my opponent's just done with me. That's fine. I got a package. I'll deal with that in a minute. All right. I kind of like Endurance. Kind of like Containment Priest. Trolls, which I assume are over there. I don't know that I want to go Surgical Deep. This is probably going to be a light touch as far as sideboarding goes. Let's get Dack Fayden out of here for an Endurance. Get the Wren and Realmbreaker out for a Priest. All that good. I don't think I'm going to play Surgical. Okay, so I need more mana. The Mox Diamond's really good. I don't think I'm going to mulligan the Mox Diamond hand here. Ooze is also just, generally speaking, quite a strong card. Let's junk the Blast Zone here. And get that back later if I need to. Oh, hell yeah, my Ooze is in play. No Troll. Wasteland's really good. Okay. I am going to get Wastelanded. I am more than willing to use my mana forever on Scavenging Ooze. That's a weird one. We doing that? I think so. I'm not expecting like a Null Rod or Meltdown type card from my opponent, given how few artifacts that I play. We'll bash in for 2. And if my opponent starts getting to murderous cut amounts of mana, I eat things from the graveyard. So for example, if my opponent fetches here, I eat a bauble from graveyard in response. Doesn't grow the Ooze. Oh, we are full on Grixis. Let's take another thing out of the graveyard. My Containment Priest is less good. I'm not significantly misboarded. I do, however, need more mana. It can be any well, I was going to say any non-Maze of Ithland, but I do have some ETB tapped lands like Bojuka Bog in here as well. I mean, good draw. Not what I'm looking for currently. Alright, we're chilling. Fuck you, Mox Diamond. Where's my goddamn life from the Loam? I was told there would be life from the Loam. DRC is fine. That gives me something to do with my cards. I will just Swords this, despite the fact that conceptually I would like to Swords Murktide Regent in this matchup. Well, I'm jamming that. I assume this just gets dazed. The opponent is not deploying threats. They've got a whole bunch of permission. Yeah. Pitching a Murktide, wow. Okay. Sure, it's just a land drop. Okay. Discard Caracas. I think I pass turn and play Endurance on my opponent's upkeep. I am drawing this one of Forth Eorlingas so much more than I statistically should be. But kind of my goal here is to get my opponent to use some resources on their turn. Then untap and like play a Grist or something. A Stifle, sure. That explains some of the cards that are in my opponent's hand. Keep this in mind with like fetch lands and Grist activations and such. The old Endurance that was supposed to keep Murktide out of play did not do its job. I need more mana. I hate that this is turn 8 and I can't play around a fucking daze. Apparently, it's okay. We get to clear the board of this Murktide. There's a good chance Grist just gets lightning bolted, but I get my 2 for 1 if that's the case. Okay, land drop's good. Alright, there's the bolt. A Wasteland. I don't think my opponent has days unless it was a recent draw. I think I'm into this. So, I've got options. 1, 2, 3, 4 lands in graveyard. The Knight is outside of red removal range. Whereas, like, Leovold is lightning boltable. Leovold's really good at making brainstorm and stuff worse. This is, I think, a tough decision. I think I like Leovold. I don't think I need to pick the most hardy of threats when I have 2 more threats in hand. Yeah, I'll draw my card. Well, my goal is to get another creature on board before playing Forth Eorlingas, because I think it is very easy to just lose the game to my own card, since my opponent has so many evasive creatures. That's why I haven't just been jamming that card. It also just gets better and better as the game goes on. That's my fireball. What did that ponder do? It shuffled. And we're just going back in. Alright, and now we've got a fetch after the ponder. It is another Murktide. Obviously not a fan. Let's do a redraw here. Alright. The Delighted Halfling is, like, not that bad. That means that I can make my Uro uncounterable next turn, which helps a bit. I am just going to take 7 a turn from this Murktide until I answer it. Life from the Loam. That's not great right now. The Evolved Grist, Endurance, Swords. I'm going to get rid of the second one of these. This is uncounterable. Yeah, okay, I guess I put the Dryad Arbor into play. So now, how many of these do I return? Or am I just wastelanding my opponent? No, I don't think I'm wastelanding my opponent. I think I just want to make land drops, because I just want to cast this for a large number and kill my opponent in 1 turn. Yep, so we'll just make another land drop and pass. That's fine. My opponent plays a 5th land for hardcast Force of Will. It starts becoming more attractive to... Sorry, I lost my train of thought. To wasteland them. Don't think I do that. Play around days? Probably. Alright. Land drop. Don't want to play around Spell Pierce as well. Just do it for X's 6. Probably fine. Orcish Bowmasters. Going at my face. Okay. Okay. Sure. What did I board in before? A Containment Priest. And another Endurance. Pyroblasts are now important because of Murktide Regent. So, do I want to try to beat the probably a 1 of Price of Progress, or do I just accept that that thing kills me if my opponent casts it? Because I can board 2 Pyroblast. Let's go down the library since my opponent is playing Bowmasters and play these. I could also play Fiery Justice, and that's not crazy. But I think that is kind of occupying these same slots. I think I'm just going to whack Submit. This is fine. I've got 3 lands. I've got 2 early removal spells and a bridge card to the Minsc and Boo. I have a 1, 2, 3, 4 curve in theory. Wasteland is a thing that exists, though. So the real question will be, like, do I aggressively go after a cantrip if my opponent plays one? I don't have to figure that out. I will attempt a Punishing Fire on my own turn. If my opponent has days, they have days, but I would like to try to kill this card. Oh, I might have... No, I didn't mess up. I'm just, like, maybe not playing this Teferi on 3 unless I rip another land. The days is fine. Like, I have a whole bunch of top end in this deck that I would prefer not to get dazed. I am okay just ramming removal spells into that. Especially since DRC is a 3/3 some portion of the time next turn. It just gets out of range of this spell. Not this time, though. No attack is weird. I want to try to treat Forth Eorlingas as a removal spell for Dragon's Rage Channeler. Not really. I don't want to cast this card basically ever until it kills my opponent. Because, like, if this just becomes a 3/3 flyer. I'm not 100% to just answer that card. Wow, that is aggressive. It's like fine if they're just working towards a Murktide Regent or whatever. Or Junking Lorien revealed. I think I'm letting this brainstorm go. I think this Pyroblast is just too important as a removal spell for a Murktide Regent. Like, I think this is a very good brainstorm, but my hand is kind of trash until it isn't trash, if that makes sense. And I need to get to that mid-range point. I'm just not there now. Wow. Are we brainstorm locked? Just no other land? Because that's rough if so. Okay, no, there's the other land. So I need a blue land here. Blue-white or blue-green. I have triple green already, so probably blue-white. It's not the world's best Teferi or anything. I would be very happy to probably trade this with a Force of Will. It is instead a lightning bolt at my face. I'm good with that. This is a 3/3. My opponent junked a Murktide, which is, in my estimation, an insane card right now. But Teferi does resolve. Let's just send the threat out of play, make my opponent reuse that mana. I've got a Pyroblast to kill a Murktide Regent or otherwise counter it. My opponent could have saved that Lightning Bolt to just like finish off with Teferi on their own turn. But they did not do that. They have like black land into Bowmasters. That would make sense. Oh, is that really it? Am I just gonna like get away with fucking murder here? Like, I Teferi plus. I probably just nuke that graveyard now. I do not need to worry about days with Teferi here. I don't think I need to commit to Mox Diamond right now. I also don't need to worry about Lightning Bolt. I think I'm just into this. Resolve the second Planeswalker and start scaling it up. I don't think I need to hold up Pyroblast right now. Again, we're mostly saving that for Murktide Regent. Blue Blast on Minsc and Boo on my opponent's own turn could be a thing. Alright, it's cantrip time. Okay, there's some worlds where this is a 3/3 this turn now. That's instant creature artifact. The land could get them there. That's another creature. That's another Murktide Regent just down. Isn't there already one in exile too? There is. Only got two of those big boys to worry about. Alright, sure. Are we done? Oh. Well, that's pretty good. That kills my Minsc and Boo. I don't care as long as I have the Teferi around for my own turn. Like, as long as I have that Teferi, I cast a Forth Eorlingas for X equals 4. It's uncounterable. And is very strong. Yeah, like, you can draw these cards, but you don't get to use them immediately. Mox Diamond, not what I'm looking for right now. So, bam. So, we'll throw this out there for X is 4. And we have an absolute pain train worth of damage coming in here. My opponent goes 2/3. I become the Monarch. I draw an extra card. I, at this point, don't care if they become the Monarch back. Like, the game will just be over. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Price of Progress currently not lethal. Now it could be. But to choose not to shuffle. Am I dead to Price of Progress? Or are you just taking a Monarch extra draw to see if... Well, no, I guess that doesn't do it, right? They have to do it at sorcery speed. Okay, sure. That's a draw, though. So, like, we're going again. No major changes for me, I don't think. Fiery Justice is okay. Okay, so... I think I keep this. It just attempts to play a Grist on turn 2 into a big, scarier Planeswalker on turn 3. and I'm not immediately vulnerable to Wasteland. I will need one more land drop, kind of fully get to where I want to be. And I realistically don't think I'm playing around days. I just have too many expensive cards, and I don't think I can time walk myself right now. Red, white, red, green, green, red. So start working on blue for Uro. I think that's the plan. All right. Grist is in play. Perfectly happy with this. We in a double lightning bolt timeline? Seems like yes. That's okay. Like, if double lightning bolt gets used, then, like, lightning bolt is less likely to disrupt this. My Tundra, no. So sad. That's not what this game is about. That is not what this game is about. I have multiple 4-drops in hand that I am trying to resolve. Let's not get distracted. That's fine. There's only 2 card types in graveyard. Oh, there's not another land. In that case, now maybe I do Wasteland. I think I like this. This shuts off a daze. Then I can do this for X's 1 to get Delighted Halfling to then make these uncounterable. And I have turned this Green Sun into a must Force of Will card. But opponent did not Force of Will. They might not have seen that coming. I don't know, I think I showed them Delighted Halfling. I don't know, the last 2 rounds are kind of a blur at this point in my head. I am a stuffy, sinusy mess. Okay, yeah, we win this one. This is just uncounterable Minsc and Boo on an empty board. Yeah, GG's. Fuck your price of progress. Let's see, this is round 3. I'm on the play. I only have 1 mana. That's not gonna do it. Okay. Gonna get rid of 1 Mox Diamond here. I don't think I get to be a Wasteland gamer today. I think I just junk that, so I have green for multiple Scavenging Ooze activations. My hand's honestly kind of weak. I don't think it's worth mulliganing, because I have big dumb things that I can draw into that are just, like, objectively quite powerful. Like, imagine if I draw that Forth Eorlingas that is just, like, glued to my hands. That would be a very powerful turn 2 play when I already have an extra creature on board and a removal spell. That's just too much Mox Diamond. Okay, I'm just crashing in for 2. I think I'm still playing the Mox Diamond, though, unfortunately. I'm, not expecting game 1 anti-artifact nonsense. And this keeps me from being wastelanded in the short term. Sure. I think I just hold Punishing Fire. I don't think I just point that at face immediately. Go ooze, go. Alright. Probably getting bolt. Oh, no. That's Bow Boy. So, I will Punishing Fire Bow Boy. Oh, come on. Alright. Then that happens. There's a damage marked on here. Now my opponent's going to block with the Orc token. And this one's a little weird. I could Swords this to keep my Ooze alive. And I think I'm going to. It's weird because, like, this is dazable as well. Yeah. That is kind of the problem with not waiting. Because I don't get a chance to rebuy Punishing Fire. I think the Ooze is going to be important for stopping, Murktide, Uro, whatever. I don't necessarily know which one my opponent is going to have. Oh, is this Murderous Cut? Alright, so this is Beans then. Got it. I think I'm in pretty bad shape this game. My opponent is going to have a window where they can kind of get set up with Beans or Uro or whatever. And I would prefer to be on board before that sort of stuff happens. So the Daze is kind of the best card here, but I can play around it. I think I'm going to put Wasteland up top, and 2 unknown cards on bottom. And then just be cognizant of Daze. Oh no, they're going for the Wastelands. Sure. That's fine, I'll take my 1. It's just on 1. I've already used the ooze. Yeah, so this is just on 1. That's fine. Get the halfling, and then a bunch of my top end is now uncounterable if my opponent doesn't, cut the halfling or whatever. It is Murktide. I can bounce an Orcish Bowmasters out of play if I'd like. Alright, so I've got 3 turns to find something that deals with Murktide. That's not great. Now my stuff's counterable again. I think if my opponent finds a Force of Will to back up this Murktide, they probably just win. Bowmasters also just represents damage now as well. Yeah, so I can bounce the Bowmasters out of play, but that doesn't do me a lot of good here. Awkward. Okay. Daze is acceptable. I'm going to play this land. I didn't play it because I didn't just want this immediately getting wastelanded. But it doesn't now contribute to a colored pip for Uro. I'm fine with that one getting wastelanded to protect something that casts Uro. Is this a Weatherbloom command on my Mox? That would suck. Yeah. I basically need to draw like a Swords to Plowshares now. Or I'm dead. That is not good enough. Okay. So I like Pyroblast. I like Endurance. Gaddock Teague is not crazy. Shuts off Murderous Cut, which is kind of a big deal. Shuts off Force of Will. Green Sunnable. I think I like these 4. I'm going to board Dack Fayden out every time. I think this card is often going to be weak. Sylvan Library is less good versus Bowmasters. It is conceptually good versus a control deck. I'm not quite sure where that ends up shaking out, but let's try something that looks like this. Okay. It's a little weird whether or not I play out Barbarian Ring on turn 1 to hold up Pyroblast. I don't think I do. I think I just jam Grist on turn 2. Oh, I can just jam Life from the Loam on turn 1 instead. Discard Bog. Do this. And Loam the Bog back. Alright. So, am I dredging? If I dredge, I just like play around Daze for the rest of the game. I am okay with that. I'm also okay with my opponent wants to Daze this. The spell doesn't matter. But I'd rather make the fetch land as my land drop. A Force of Will. Sure. I think I'm just going to play Barbarian Ring. And pass. It's a little weird. Because if I Bojuka Bog, now I'm only taking 1 card out. And I would prefer to get a little more value than just that. But I think I'm currently into aggressively Pyroblasting a cantrip. I can't explain why, just feels correct. Yeah, that's about right. Reg. Wasteland. Fuck yeah. Wasteland, Taiga. Actually, no. Wasteland, Maze of Ith, Fetch Land is what I actually want. And if this spell resolves, I imagine it is GG. Like, I now have 3 lands in play to my opponent's 0. And any non-basic land they play just immediately gets eaten. I don't dredge this time. Bog is pretty good here. Jamming Grist is also not bad. I think I'm just going to Bog, though. 6 cards in graveyard, just for reference, for purposes of Threshold for Barbarian Ring. Wasteland is fine. Yeah, you can up the Beanstalk. That's fine. We'll dredge Life from Loam. Sure. Life from Loam. Target 3 lands. Bam. Wasteland. Your drop. Yeah, that's fine. I don't need to throw that at my opponent's face or anything. No, none of that. Land drop. Play card. Yeah, you can force a will this. There's a daze that we played around. Now I've just got like land drops for days. And anytime my opponent plays a non-basic land and passes, I just wasteland it. Otherwise, I start doing cool things. I think I'll just do this in my opponent's upkeep. Not give them another chance to draw Force of Will. 15. Cool. No need to do that. Abo Seiju. This can give my opponent a land, though, so I don't actually think I'm into doing that. Let's just hit my opponent for 2. Make a land drop and pass. And then at their end step, I'll Otawara their Beanstalk out of play. This has the upside of also forcing them to discard, which is probably upside. Force of Vigor. Sure. Okay, yeah. You're not coming back from that one. That's 4-color Loam doing 4-color Loam nonsense. I think I'm good. A little bit thinking about Fiery Justice. Now this is another Life from the Loam Wasteland start that can be very powerful. I am fine with this. Opponent is quickly mulliganing. So they're on 5. Wasteland will be very good. We'll see if they have basics that they get. Negative. This is fine. I am just going to, on my first turn, just immediately wasteland them. This is some... Wow, okay. This is some very classic 4-color Loam gameplay. I could double Mox Diamond right now. It's kind of bad versus Force of Vigor. And a little bit bad against Force of Negation. I think I'm still going to do it. Because it just gives me the chance to just immediately draw 3. Yeah. Good shit. So there is a basic. And we're not interested in basically dredging at all this game until... yeah, that's fine. Like that... I have gotten these lands back. So I'm trading Mox Diamond for Force of Vigor Witherbloom command. Like, that's okay. Like, we're more than good with this. Plus, we still just have another Wasteland in hand already. So if my opponent plays another non-basic, I just snipe that. Yeah, that's fine. I have the Life from the Loam. You don't. So this is all good with me. We also just have a Swords to Plowshares for something like a Murktide Regent that's played out. A Mox Diamond. That's not bad. I will continue to Wasteland. There's a good chance that my opponent plays a Bowmaster here. Not this time, though. Okay. Do I dredge Life from the Loam this time? I think so. I think just... Oh, man, that would have been a good draw. I think kind of preemptively playing around things when I can is a good idea. We'll get back Bayou, Wasteland Tundra, while holding up Swords to Plowshares. And my opponent's control deck is not going to operate well on this amount of mana. Let's draw something big and strong off the top, please. This stuff is not qualifying. We're in some amount of trouble if my opponent can just find a Murktide Regent before I find a relevant card. Hopefully that doesn't happen. My deck is definitely mana heavy, but not to like an absurd degree or anything. Hey, there we go. Oh, I guess I want to fetch first. Let's go get like a trop. I might actually play another land drop first. Green, blue, some other color. I have swords up for a Bowmasters if my opponent plays one. We are getting movement. Underground Sea. Smells like Bowmasters. It is Bowmasters. I think I will go ahead and get rid of this. I can let my opponent grow that token by 1 and then put Barbarian Ring in and kill it with that, actually. Let's do that. No dredge. Oh. I can also just find my own Bowmasters. That's cool. Sure. So then... let's take... let's keep denying my opponent mana. I think I'm okay with casting a Bowmasters here, rather than just immediately killing it with Barbarian Ring. I could sit here and think about this turn for a lot longer, though. I'm just not going to. I can take out this Underground Sea next turn. Maybe while also playing Uro. I haven't mathed it out yet. Sure. I don't care about some chip damage from the token. That's borderline irrelevant. Sure. As an X3, that's slightly scarier. I don't think I care that much. I think the only way I lose is to like a large Murktide region or something, so let's just play around that. Reg, life from the Loam. Cast life from the Loam, target Wasteland, Blast Zone, some other land. 1 and 2. Bam. Bam. I think let's kill the Bowmasters now. And then Uro next turn. Again, I don't think the chip damage from this Orc matters enough to use Swords to Plowshares. No need to dredge here. Uro time. Alright. Alright, the Uro is in play. We will just do a regular old card draw. Put a Grove into play. I think past the turn. End of my opponent's turn will probably return Punishing Fire. I assume my opponent's kind of doing nothing with their turn. Have a life. Take a real draw. A Knight of the Reliquary is not bad at all. Let's start doing Uro shit. We'll take real draws at this point. Bam. Oh, just fully committing to the chump block. That's fine. Make a land drop. We'll fetch some land. I'm going to cast a Scavenging Ooze. And we're just going to use as much mana as I can to just eat things from my opponent's graveyard. Alright, and now that I've done that and reduced the size of the graveyard, we'll call it a turn. I don't need to grow this this Scavenging Ooze. Like, this Uro is going to kill my opponent. We're just going to keep instants and sorceries out of the graveyard for large Murktide regions. Again, I think that's the only thing I can realistically lose to. And no lands. Brutal. We will crash in for 8. Nah. Oh, yeah. Well, let's put a Wasteland into play. And if that's happened, then let's do a little eating. I'll take out both Bowmasters. Take out that Brainstorm. Hit my opponent for 10. That brings him to 9. We've got lethal on board. I'll also play a Knight. Because I can. Force of Will, pitching days, that's fine. In that case, Wasteland, Barbarian Ring, fetch land. You can have a life. It's just the 1 point of life is irrelevant at this stage. Enjoy your land while it lasts, fool. Yep, GG's. Alright, my opponent has mulligan to 6. I've got a keeper here. What am I discarding to the Mox Diamond? Let's assume I can get this back later if I need it. And let's get a happy little halfling, shall we? That just makes Comet uncounterable next turn, which is a hell of a clock. Basic Forest. We're playing against lands. That's mildly annoying. So much for getting it back later. So, I've got a choice. I can just like play Comet and go wild with Comet, or I can actually try to control my opponent's lands with Knight of the Reliquary, but I think I just gamble on the Comet. Everything except 3 is good, since my opponent exiled the Ottawara. Alright, we have made squirrels. Send them. And every time you hit the plus, it just makes, what is it, the 4 and 5 hit harder, which I am a big fan of. Urza Saga goes up. More other Urza Saga appears. Kraken Soul Guide, sure. Are you land light? Because if you're not making a token this turn, you're falling so far behind. I guess I did mulligan to 6, but like, what is in your hand if not lands? Okay. That allows my opponent to make a 2/2. So I think I go Wasteland Urza Saga, and then that forces the activation now. And then if I hit a Comet Death Laser, I can Death Laser this construct. And if I hit return a land thingy, hey, I can then nuke the other Urza Saga with that. Alright, Knight or Leovold now. I think I like Knight. It's currently small. It'll get bigger. I've got chump blockers for days to protect the Comet. I could actually, like, multi-block as well. Like, that is perfectly reasonable. Ooh, Life from the Loam is a pain, though. Like, that is very strong here. It just means that my opponent has this, like, stream of Urza Saga tokens for a very long time. I guess I can Bojuka Bog. That's really a 4/4. I don't think I am interested in trying to trade a bunch of things for that. Swords to Plowshares. I mean, that's a good last card. Does mean they're not making a construct token immediately. Although I was planning on Bojuka Bogging the Life from the Loam and Urza Saga, and I don't get to do that anymore. Oh well. Don't think I have to do this. Then I put a thing in graveyard so that if I hit that number with Comet, I'm good. Pearls. Green. Black. Blue. There's Leovold. Don't think attacks make sense. That Swords to Plowshares was highly disruptive. Ooh, there's also a stage now. That is a problem card. And the exploration is going to slowly eat me alive. Although I guess the good news is that if my opponent is dredging, they are not drawing towards removal spells. How about some 6s on Comet, though, huh? So, do I want to trade Leovold and Squirrel for a construct? Sure. I think I'm trying to clear the board. And this gives me a real chance to, like, draw a removal spell and then actually get some attacks in on my turn. That's almost a removal spell. Alright, Comet, let's go. Fucking go, pal. I've rolled a 6. That means we get to just go twice more. I have rolled a 6. Yeah, we're going. I've made some squirrels. Oh, this is just 12 damage. Base. Base. Comet keeps going. Comet rolls a 6 again. Holy shit. Face. Okay. That was pretty good. Who would win? An inevitability engine or one good boy? Alright. I like endurance a lot. I think I like force of vigor. Mox diamonds, explorations, Urza sagas, construct tokens, it hits a lot. Surgicals are probably playable. Dack Fayden goes out, I think. Well, actually, maybe not. Dealing a Mox Diamond or an Urza Saga token is reasonable. I think Quick Reflexes goes. My opponent's not going to have that many removal spells. Punishing Fire is often not going to kill Urza Saga construct tokens. Not excited about that. I am excited about these. At the same time, I also could just, like, get rid of one of my more expensive cards. Something like Wren and Realmbreaker. to play either Surgical or Legolas's Quick Reflexes. I actually think I kind of like Surgical now that I'm thinking about it more. Mostly if I take out Urza's Saga, then I only have the 2020 to worry about. Bowmasters is not particularly good either. My opponent's not really drawing cards. Maybe you go back in? Do you or you go back in? Let's try this. Maybe I'm undervaluing Punishing Fire too, but I think a lot of times it's not going to kill the creature I need it to kill. I am looking at a decisively mid opening hand here. I just don't think this is going to be fast enough. This is fine. I'm gonna get rid of Blast Zone, I think. Like, very specifically helps with exploration, and I do have Life from the Loam. But I think I want this as my safety net to not die to a 2020. And I think I want this to have something realistic to like work towards in the first couple of turns. I think I'm going to expose this land to Wasteland. Just give my opponent the life and call it a turn. I could eat just Swords to Plowshares here into Wasteland and kind of be pretty far behind, but I didn't. Just Wasteland is okay. It's Wasteland followed by Swords to Plowshares that is a problem. Because if it's just one, I get to just cast Life from the Loam as a draw 2 here. Green, white. Green, white. I've got my Loam online. Fantastic. Alright, that's a Saga. So I'd love to find a Wasteland, Wasteland that, and then Surgical. Ooh. I don't think the Wasteland is my Surgical target. Although maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just take their Life from the Loams. Okay. Like, Urza Saga is the thing that I think I conceptually want to get rid of. Let's do this. Another Surgical. It's a shame. I would have liked to have drawn that. So let's Surgical Life from the Loam. Yes. Let's Surgical Life from the Loam now that I have access to Besage. Loam, Loam, Loam out. Another Urza Saga in hand, unfortunately. Anything spicy in the deck? Tabernacle. Okay. Actually, do I fetch first? Or I guess I maybe didn't need to pay life. Taiga. I guess I get an attack in for 1 point of damage this way. Alright, so my Boseiju is going to have a lot of work to do. My opponent's got a Pithing Needle. So we'll see how this shakes out. No. Minsc and Boo is interesting. But I think not what's important right now. Yep. We're going to nuke that. Play a land. Play a Mox Diamond. I think junking one of these. It's a little awkward, but I think I do this. So that I can attack for 1 in this turn cycle. Got the plan to Prismatic Ending the Crucible of Worlds if my opponent starts going that route. Okay, there goes Maze of Ith. I kind of want my opponent to play this Pithing Needle before I do Minsc and Boo. My opponent has Crop Rotation, which I think means Bojuka is available. Makes dredging this a little awkward. I don't think I'm going to do it. Boseiju, Taiga, some other land. Alright, it has occurred. Let's fetch. Maybe start working on blue for Uro. I'm pretty far away from that. Let's not. Let's just keep taking out these Urza Sagas. Opponent's not going for the crop rotation on them. They're just not pulling the trigger on that. And I don't think I'm interested in Prismatic Ending on either of those with Crucible and Pithing Needle as things that I have to respect. Why are we doing that now when you could have done that on Urza Saga a minute ago? Sure, that's fine. So now we're going to have to deal with one more Urza Saga and then we'll be done with that shit. Yep. There is still a Pithing Needle that my opponent is just, like, not playing. Oh, bam. Ending. Green. White. Red. I guess we'll do a little pokey. So I've just got to beat this guy. Oh, that's so annoying. That's very good versus Minsc and Boo. I'm going to take 3. Go to 9. I don't think I fetched a thin. My colors matter too much in this deck. Daggers. Well, my opponent can still make mistakes, right? I could draw 1 here. I think it's higher EV for my opponent to mess up and forget about their Caracas than it is for me to sack my Dryad Arbor to draw 1. And that's not always going to pan out, but the times where it does matter a lot. Sure. Soul Guide Lantern is kind of whatever. Planeswalker for both. That's fine. I mean, Minsc and Boo gained me 10 life. That is perfectly acceptable. And I just need a live draw here. Life from the Loam is not a live draw, so I block, take 10, and am dead. Damn. I'm pretty happy with how I played that one. Like, I knew what I was navigating towards. I just never had time to really get that Minsc and Boo in play, because Urza Saga is good. Now I know that my opponent has Crucible as well. I don't know that that's really going to change anything that I can do. So this is essentially a 1-lander that has 2 mana sources and the ability to do some gross stuff with pitch spells. I don't know about this one. Like, it has promise and gets some immediate free wins. Yes, that's fine. It's just a little hard to be excited about a hand that looks like this one, though. I think I have to get Savannah here rather than Forest. But some subset of games I just lose. But I think we're hoping to just kind of steal this one with Force of Vigor or Prismatic Ending. Yeah, that's fine. So Prismatic Ending the Exploration. That's very good. And we maybe don't immediately play the Maze of Ith. That way if I draw a Mox Diamond, I can discard it to convert it into mana. Hey, we just got a 3rd natural land. That is very lucky. We are very prepared for, like, the graveyard. Ooh, nice. For, like, the graveyard and Urza Saga portion of my opponent's deck, and we are much less prepared for just end of turn crop rotation make a 2020. We'll see, though. Well, that helps a lot. Yeah, that is my protection. Send it. Opponent takes 3. I think I will make this as a land drop, because it is currently producing green mana. Ooh. Maze of Ith. Sure, that's fine. That lets my opponent search up at Dark Depths, which is a thing. We'll just play another 3/4. That might be enough to just Boseiju the Maze of Ith and just attack for 6, 12, 18. Let's not, though. Yeah, this is fine. Like, I think I'm okay maybe another turn cycle or so from now using the Boseiju, but while Thespian Stage is active, it's a little dicier. This Thespian Stage can just target Maze of Ith some portion of the time. Sure. Finding Urza's Saga, that's fine. Like, I Force a Vigor that and move on with my life. I guess that's going to have the same problem as Boseiju does, in that my opponent can copy it. I still think I'm just going to immediately do that, though. It is a crop rotation or a blast zone. That seems pretty slow to me. It's also going to get super fucking blown out. But I understand the logic. Alright, so my opponent just takes 6. So then end of turn, they're going to charge Blast Zone. And then I will Boseiju you that. And say no. And I think at this point with Maze of Ith and Caracas in play, I'm not going to be dead to combo nonsense. I also just have some crazy draws like Comet that can swing the game and push a lot of damage. Thespian Stage on Maze of Ith can really slow down this game, though. What's this other one? Saga. Alright. I don't like it. Oh, another natural Maze of Ith. That's rough. 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be 5, 6. This is very bad. I need a real draw in the next turn or two, or I think my opponent will just bury me with Life from the Loam. That's fine. It begins. I also don't think I can fetch because my colors are so weird in this deck. Like, as much as I want to fetch to thin, I don't think it is correct to. That doesn't really accomplish anything here. It's another layer of protection versus getting comboed off. But that's about it. Like, I can use it to bounce a Saga token or something at some point. But I need one of my big dumb draws. And I need it fast. That's not really one of them. Let's do some fetching, I think. Maybe blue, white. Well, still got this in play. I'm going to go ahead and play Teferi. Ooh. Sure. Oh, I was planning on bouncing an Urza Saga. I bounce this instead. I think I still just bounce an Urza Saga. I don't really want my opponent tutoring a Expedition map. Take your 1/1. Thank you, deck. Very cool. So I maybe need to start playing towards timing out my opponent. I'm down quite a bit on clock. That Blast Zone is a problem. Prismatic Ending doesn't do a ton here. I can play it at instant speed, though. Alright. I've got kind of a very specific sequence that I kind of want to happen. It does, I think, require my opponent making an error. I would like them to not dredge Life from the Loam right here. Okay, cool. So, my conceptual plan is that my opponent cracks Blast Zone to kill my Endurances, and then I get Urza Saga and Blast Zone and Life from the Loam all at the same time. Alright, so this is 3. I'm going to Otawara, bounce an Endurance, like so. And then I can use that to clear the yard. We still have some problems in the form of like the multiple copies of Maze of Ith and, you know, the 3 tokens on board. But I'm now ahead on clock. That is a very valuable resource. Yes. I think I take out the Shadow Spear. Maybe not. I don't really have time to think about this one. So I'm just going to make a play. Alright. Where's my Comet when I need one? Timing. Let's get a black mana. Bayou. I'm going to get 3 of those Urza Sagas. I can't get the last one. Oh. Dark Depths, that is a problem. I guess it's only so much of a problem, right? Like, I do have Caracas and Maze of Ith. Oh, maybe I'm supposed to get rid of the Shadow Spear. The raw number of constructs matters a lot, though. I guess I lose my Maze. Yeah. I guess I also don't have red mana right now. Since I got black for paying for Surgical. That's a 3/3? Oh no, it's a 4/4 secretly. Okay, got it. Sorry, I'm trying to play quickly at this point. I'm at 9. Alright. Life from the Loam. Maze, Windswept, Otawara. Bam. Play Maze. I think I'm just gonna play this out as it represents red mana. Pass turn. Yeah, we might be going to time here. My life from the Loam's very good, but my opponent potentially has the who's he what's it. Oh, they also have like potentially Pithing Needle. Do I need to Otawara right here? My Otawara doesn't get Pithing Needled. Let's say no. Yeah, because I thought that was going to happen. Yep. Ghost Quarter on Maze of Ith is good. Get a Forest. So, Otawara, one of those out of play. Block another one to save some life. But I need a really good draw off the top. Is that good enough? That might be good enough. Otawara, Maze, some other thing. Bam. Oh, Bojugabog. That's rough. Oh, I guess this is now my Hail Mary. Guess I could have waited till after that ability resolved. Okay. Sure. Oh, right, that just discards all of them. No, I'm dead. GG's. All right. I'm going to keep this one and hope that Wasteland is good against my opponent. I have a lot of things that are just going to improve this hand, like Mox Diamond, Life from the Loam, any white land, any green land. I think it's okay. I don't think it's good. But I think I am going to have some faith in the fact that, you know, like literally 50% of my deck is mana and just keep this one. Basic Mountain Pass. Yeah, that's fine. And that's fine. So we don't know whether or not we're playing against Delver immediately. Given that my plan is Wasteland, I am going to just Wasteland this first land. I am fine committing to that. Because like some portion of the time this is just like a show and tell deck or something, or even a control deck. Yeah. I know I said any green land, but I didn't really mean the Dryad Arbor. Catch another non-basic. Do it. Nice. That's the stun one. Yeah, that's fine. Ward how much? Ward 2. That's okay. We're just going to keep attacking the mana here. Like, I'm very glad my opponent played this instead of a real card. Because now I don't have to worry about just eating up damage over the next few turns. I think this is an okay time to get an ETB tapped land out of the way. And I can potentially even play out Dryad Arbor next turn. Yep. Very glad I have not taken 6 points of damage already. Also just kill this next turn. I probably don't risk Dryad Arbor anymore. Let's just play Taiga and pass. Yep. Good stuff. So this is a Savannah. Pretty confident about that. Ward 2. And we'll pay for that. Oh no, not a Force of Will. It's not like I can just block it or remove it again next turn. Alright, so it's turn 6, and my opponent's 1-drop has dealt me 3 damage. Life's okay. I think I'll play Endurance in combat. I could also just Blast Zone. But I think I like mid-combat Endurance. Because some amount of the time the Blast Zone can get multiple bodies. Show me another Force of Will. They did not. We'll take Force of Will out of the graveyard. Block this creature. I now have a threat in play and my opponent doesn't. And I'm also about to have a Knight of the Reliquary in play. So, you know, we're good here. Sketchy Wasteland hand is a success. Opponent is at 15 and is on a 2-turn clock. Yup. So I don't know exactly what my opponent's build is going to look like. I always want Pyroblast and Endurance. I'm not sure about Hydroblast. I don't think I want Dack Fayden. I don't think I want Wren and Realmbreaker. I'm not sure how good Punishing Fire is. I don't know exactly what my opponent's creature base is going to be like. I think I'll keep the Punishing Fires in. Libraries maybe aren't amazing. Do I get rid of both? Like, do I want one library or do I want one Hydroblast, I think? Library is a nice early play. I don't have a ton of those. Hydroblast is another removal spell for DRC, which I assume is in there. On the draw, let's take one more removal spell. The Legolas's Quick Reflexes is a dead card, but I have 3 lands and 3 removal spells. That's an incredibly good 6-card hand. I think I'm just going to keep that. Alright, what do we got? A Delver. That's fine. And that's the sort of stuff that the Punishing Fires are in here for. I think I am just going for an ending on that. Plateau, maybe? Like, I am okay if this gets dazed. Because I basically always want to cast a dazable spell next turn anyway. Like, I almost always want to just Punishing Fire this Delver next turn, rather than do something that plays around daze. Unless that happens. Alright, then I'm back on Prismatic Ending again. Got it. Oh, that's cool. Let's see what I have for options for white. Scrubland. Then I can get Taiga with Windswept Heath. You gotta do a little planning with your mana for this deck, because the mana base is persnickety. I was waiting to pay costs. So maybe they have a force and didn't want to force it. I'll just kind of keep that in mind for the future. Okay, cool. We get a little bit of a break here. I'm going to play Windswept and pass with Bowmasters available. I would like to wait to play this till I'm on 3 mana, but I'm going to fire it off if my opponent puts a Brainstorm on the stack. I'm about to lose access to black, so I guess this is my moment. Taiga. And get something with white. I could get like Tundra. Red for Punishing Fire. Let's get access to red. Yeah. Alright. We're in play. That's the good news. I can also like protect it with Legolas's Quick Reflexes, and I'll have 2 different mana sources that help with that. So this is not a bad position. I feel good, but not great. Okay. I think I just attack with the Orc. The token specifically. Because of this. Now, got those Quick Reflexes. Now I can't just lose this to a block in combat. So I have a Pyroblast backing up my stuff. Is this a removal spell for that? That's fine. Since I'm choked on mana, it's easier for me to answer that right now on the stack. Alright, well, there's another one. Yeah, it's awkward to Maze of Ith that. That's not the best draw either. I should have cast this Punishing Fire pre-combat. Might be missing a point of damage here. And by might, I probably am. I think I just fire this off now. Again, my stuff is going to be dazable forever. Especially paying ward cost for this. A new Bowmasters. You got it. That is not good. So I am chilling. 3 cards in hand, none of them castable. I think my opponent is pulling ahead quite a bit here. Yep. Sure. Yeah, I am okay trading Orc for Orc here. I accept that. That's fine. That means Endurance is castable. I think I'm supposed to do it in combat. Yep. I guess you can make an argument that I'm supposed to wait to play it around a daze. I think I want to try to get this, though. Just the Bowmasters comes in. Well, this was the Endurance sniff test. I did have the Endurance, so good on you. And if I trade for Bowmasters plus Lightning Bolt, I think I'm okay with that. Goodbye. Yeah, this is fine. Life from the Loam. That's quite actively good. Am I Wastelanding? Like, is that a thing that matters? It kind of is as a mana sink for another one of these, but I think I'm just on Get Scrub, Plateau, some other land. Oh, sorry about that. So I think my whole plan here is just Maze of Ith this creature in the short term, paying for the ward. And then slightly later I'll work on other things. I think as long as I don't die to little creatures here, with the inevitability that my deck has, will do good things. Ponder's fine. I wonder if you're supposed to ponder pre-combat for Wasteland on Maze of Ith. I guess that's only worth 3 points of damage, because I have Life from the Loam. JK. That's no shuffle. So I can attack my opponent's mana if I want to double Wasteland. I think I just want more removal spells. Okay, I'll Dryad Arbor. Let's just make a land drop and go to my opponent's turn, I think. I think that's fine. So my goal is to Maze of Ith the Fairy. And then if my opponent doesn't do anything else with their turn, All Swords to Plowshares it, and then play Forth Eorlingas on an empty board. Again, as we've seen in the other rounds, though, the longer I wait to cast this in this deck, usually the better. Okay, so this can be 5th land, or something like Hardcast Force of Will. What is that targeting? Ponder. Okay, that's fine. Hardcast a Lorien Revealed. Sure. All Swords in response. Now my opponent gains life. I'll return my Punishing Fire to my hand. My opponent gets to draw some cards. So this is an okay turn cycle to Wasteland you, Life from the Loam, Wasteland you, and knock my opponent off of a color. It's also an okay turn cycle to go for a win. I don't think I have to go for a win. So let's Wasteland red. Life from the Loam, Wasteland, Wasteland, Otawara. Bam. Play Wasteland, Wasteland red. They'll have Punishing Fire available. Have a more generic bounce spell as well, for if things get a little weird and something like a Murktide slips into play. Okay, sure. And in this board, I am fine just kind of Wastelanding my opponent while taking new draw steps. Like this is perfectly fine with me. Sure. Maybe I'm being a little bit too patient with this card. But it feels like I am on track towards a win. And I don't think I want to introduce a high variance mechanic into the game when I'm this far ahead. Or at least what I perceive to be this far ahead. Yep. I think there's some chance that my opponent has drawn like Force of Negation. No proof, just vibes. Bog, Wasteland. Wasteland? Vibe check, not correct. Let's go Wasteland, continue to attack red. You may absolutely lightning bolt my face with that mana if you would like. And they would like. Let's discard Dryad Arbor. Sure. Take a regular draw. Pyroblast is great. We'll pass to my opponent's upkeep and then Wasteland them. I wish I could make an extra land drop. Just like bogging that graveyard is so good right now. But it doesn't feel like the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. A Subtlety. I can just Pyroblast that. It's not a primo spell or anything, but just keeping everything perfectly clear is strong. Dredge Life from the Loam. Cast Life from the Loam. Tundra. Wasteland. Wasteland. Wasteland Underground Sea. Pass turn. Maybe get rid of Windswept Heath. Alright, my opponent has finally had enough of my bullshit, and we end up positive. So that was a fine league. Generally speaking, I am not the biggest fan of greedy mana bases. It's kind of one of my things. And I definitely had lots of times where I had 3+ cards in hand and just could cast literally none of them. And that's not to say that I always fetched perfectly. Like, obviously, I'm picking up this deck for the first time. I haven't played this exact 75. I'm going to make errors. But generally speaking, I think I did okay in terms of fetching and being cognizant of my lands and stuff. I don't know that this is a high power deck list in that it is like super, super tournament viable. I think it is working kind of hard to do similar things to other decks in the format. I think when compact engines like Uro and Up the Beanstalk exist, I find it hard to want to register this deck list. Comet was a baller tonight. Comet did some serious work, I think, dealing like 18 to our opponent in one turn. And like there is something to playing a bunch of weird things like this. But we also did run into a lot of the awkwardness of like, oh, Lightning Bolt stopped my 4-mana card. Or like, oh, a Bowmaster trigger can finish off my Planeswalker that minused. I don't like how some of these numbers work out. I really don't like Dack Fayden in a Bowmaster world. So I don't think this is a bad deck. Like this like passes all the deck construction tests I think necessary to be a reasonable legacy deck. I don't think this one is for me right now in the metagame though. Although it was fun. The games were very interesting and intricate. Like huge thumbs up in terms of gameplay. So folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you have any thoughts about the deck list, throw those down below. And if you need any of these cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save a little bit on your order. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya.